So Rafa, what do you think of the Chase Young ad? I thought there would be like overwhelming, like way to go, John Lynch, way to go. But man, there's kind of a lot of people that are bent about the lack of a slot corner.
Well, I'm Portuguese, so I'm a cheapskate, and I'm a big,
I
I'm a
haven't heard
big
that one
value,
before.
I'm a big value guy, and I love Chase Young. I love the addition. The value is good in regards to the pick, and then the fact that we'll be able to get a comp pick later if he walks. But with that all said, if you look at how we've been losing the last 3 games, I mean, the ball's been getting out quick by the quarterbacks.
Right.
So, I mean, the NFL has become so specialized. The folks are so smart nowadays in how they strategize. And so we have this huge glaring weakness at nickel corner, in the slot. And there's nothing that we've done thus far to mitigate that issue in terms of what Oliver brings to the table. And yeah, we can move Demo there. We can bring in Womack when he comes off IR or Luter. But at the moment, it's still a very glaring weakness. Any kind of shifty receiver is going to be a problem. And if we have a quarterback,
you saw it with Jordan Addison 2 weeks ago against Minnesota. The shiftiness that that nobody could hang anywhere close to him. They had to just grab him and take penalties.
Yeah, and I'm a big college football fan as well, and you've seen that with like the University of Colorado. They played a few games. There was a bunch of hype around them, but they were just getting killed on the same types of routes, slant routes, crosses over the middle. And I feel like with the 49ers right now, it's a similar situation. You've got this beast of a team that's capable of so much, yet they have this weakness, like this Achilles tendon, that if it gets hit, is a problem. And right now it's, in the slot. And I think they really have to do something about that, because as fans, I really enjoy watching your channel and seeing Grant and all the other folks that do the work.
Appreciate that.
But the truth of the matter is, this year it's Super Bowl or bust. That's the standard for this year. Every year is a different label for how we go about thinking of things as fans. And in regards to that, our expectation is, okay, if there's a hole, it needs to be plugged. And we're going into a bye week, and it's going to be fun to see how the discourse goes with your channel and with everyone else's. This is the opportunity to plug that hole. That slot position has to be fixed, because Oliver ain't it. Because he's it in regards to, you want to have a 10-7 season, you want to get maybe to the NFC Championship game, but that's not what the expectation is. It's Super Bowl or bust. Therefore, you've got to go all in. And I'll say another thing.
Yeah.
We have 11 picks for next year. 11 picks. We don't have 11 roster spots for rookies next year. Why aren't we being aggressive and packaging those picks to bring in some high quality players in the depth? We've been told all offseason, there's so much depth on this team. Well, guess what? Trent Williams and Deebo Samuel go down, and all of a sudden we ain't physical on that same level anymore. We ain't to that degree of physicality the last 3 games. And so we aren't as deep as we think we are. And it's going to be an interesting situation, because, a lot of luck is going to have to come into play the second half of the season. We're going to need guys to stay healthy, because if a handful of guys go down, that Super Bowl dream is going to be that divisional championship loss or divisional round nightmare.
That's the other thing too, is the offense, you could say, has been struggling without some key guys. The defense has 0 injuries, 0. So if you lose a guy in the secondary and there isn't someone to step up, you're talking about that's a big deal.
Wow, it's being widely reported here, too. Everybody seems to be quoting this. The Giants had a trade agreed to with the Niners for Adoree Jackson, but failed to report it to the league in time.
I would say that's a bit of a blessing in disguise.
So I think you're not an Adoree Jackson fan. Well, if you look at the numbers, he was not grading out particularly highly.
Yeah, I think sometimes it's like anything in life. We want to try something to see if it works. But the reality of the situation is, we've got to play chess and not checkers. And we've got to get guys in there that know exactly what they're doing and what we want them to do. So I would say, to folks like yourself and Grant, who have, the ability to ask, Kyle and Steve questions, I'd say, like, hey, I want to hear what you think about Womack and Luter in regards to them actually playing this season, and totally. what they are actually going to bring to the table. Because y'all are now sold on Oliver and this cornerback setup, and all you got is your practice squad and the waiver wire. Like, tell us as the media and the fans, what is Samuel Womack going to bring to the table? What is Darrell Luter Jr. going to bring to the table? Because we know what these three guys that you're rolling out there right now are doing.
Yeah. I mean, there's no doubt in my mind that Oliver is not going to be able to stand up against the shiftier slot receivers. I think when the Niners play the Rams and Oliver has to defend Cooper Kupp, I think Cooper Kupp is just going to absolutely carve him up because Cooper Kupp's got the ability with double moves and working back to the quarterback. You got to have body control to mirror him up and down the field. He can't do it. It's got to be Lenoir. And that means Lenoir is your best outside corner, but he's also your best inside corner. And, the old coach used to say the key to pass coverage is pass coverage. In other words, there is no key to pass coverage. You got to have dudes. You got to have guys who can mirror. So, and guess what? None of them, typically wind up on the street. Now, I did take a deep look at everybody's practice squad. Wilkes had Keith Taylor, the big 6'4" corner who played, I think, at UW in college. He had him last year in Carolina. He right now is on Kansas City's practice squad. I might go there and see if I could sign him. He's a 6'4" corner, but he's got better movement skills than Oliver. But man, there's slim pickings. Now, you sometimes will see players after the deadline released. So maybe there's a chance that somebody shakes free. But today was a huge day. Today was an absolutely huge day. I think the good news from today is that the Eagles didn't get another player.
Yeah,
that's the good news. If they had gotten Jalen Johnson, that would have been a kick to the gut.
Yeah.
After they just added Byard in their secondary, if they had added one more DB, that would have been a kick to the gut. If they had gotten a big-time linebacker, there was a lot of talk that they were looking for another linebacker, that would have been a kick to the gut. The fact that they only got Byard and Roseman wasn't able to make a move, that's nice. Now, I like Chase Young. I'm excited for what he looks like. You got to remember this. Kasarik has made Ebukam and Menahue and Jordan Willis and Cleveland Farrell and some of these guys, Arden Key. He's made guys that are just kind of ordinary look special. What can he do with Chase Young, who's got extraordinary ability, second pick in the draft kind of talent, real blue chip talent? What can he get out of Chase Young? So I'm excited by that, but I would have been a whole lot more excited if they could have added, some cornerback depth, because I think they're a man short back there. Let's just say this: if and it's a big if Womack plays the way I think he can play, if Luter plays the way I think he can play, and those guys both come back healthy and are ready to contribute, they'll be okay. Yeah. But that's a big if.